What up, YouTube? I am back with another video, and this time I am doing a book review. That is right, a book review. Why am I doing a book review? I guess because I read a lot, and I want to share with you what I've been reading and been up to and learning about. I like to read because I learn. I live in Squamish, BC. I drive an hour to work every day, so I listen to a lot of books on tape. This one I actually listened to on tape, but I bought the book because I wanted to support Bobby Hundreds, because it's good to actually support the people who are doing cool stuff. So I went out and bought the book, even though I already paid for the Audible book. Okay, here it is. This is not a t-shirt by Bobby Hundreds. The memoir of Bobby Hundreds, his life in streetwear, his life in skateboard culture, his life in LA. Okay, what is this book about? Well, it's about his life. It's about Bobby Hundreds' life. And what did he get up to? He is one of the OGs in the streetwear scene. The title, This Is Not a T-Shirt, he talks about, which immediately hit me because I'm in the vintage business. You guys all know me because I sell vintage. And This Is Not a T-Shirt comes from This Is Not a Fugazi T-Shirt, a sick vintage T-shirt. And he gets into details about it, why he named it that, because that T-shirt was kind of a cultural phenomena. It was, Fugazi actually never made their own merchandise. So at some point somebody in the parking lot was selling these This Is Not a Fugazi T-shirt. And that kind of represented to him a punk rock attitude, the embodiment of like, fuck you, we're doing it anyway. And in spite of it not being an official Fugazi t-shirt, it's recognized today as one of the most iconic vintage t-shirts. So, super sick name with very good relevance. Okay, so in the book, he jumps around all about his life growing up in LA as a kid, and then, you know, it goes into his life starting the Hundreds streetwear brand. One thing that I find really cool is Bobby Hundreds was a writer. He was writing a lot. He was writing blog posts. He was writing about his experiences in LA, writing about the nightlife, the culture, skateboarding, whatever he found interesting at the time. Now, why is this relevant? It's because, you know, I find myself in my own business dealing with marketing a lot and content and trying to put out as much content as we can, and Bobby did it the right way. He did all the content first. He already had a following behind his blog and his writing, and people were into what he was doing before he ever made a t-shirt. Me and Jesse, F as in Frank, were actually featured on the Hundreds blog back in 2015. I'll put the link below in the description so you can go check that out. Here's something. I was never a fan of the Hundreds. I don't own one Hundreds t-shirt. I've never worn a piece of the Hundreds clothing. But I do appreciate the stories behind building that brand. And, you know, I'm a course skater. For me, the Hundreds always represented, I hate to say this, but like, it was in the malls. It was in the malls. I don't know what years, 2005, it was in the malls. I think the Hundreds now is 15 years old. He talks about that. It was in the malls, and I didn't dig it. It wasn't like enough of a core skateboarding brand for me at the time to get into. But he talks about that a lot. He talks about the period when they went into the malls, and then the period where they took it back out of the malls. And at this point in time, they're not sold in the mall shops, and he's brought it back to a more core demographic. So good on you for that, Bobby. No offense that I never wore your stuff, it just wasn't my lane, but I respect the hustle and I appreciate this book. Obviously, Bobby Hundreds is a great writer. This is a great memoir. I think anybody who's into streetwear, who's into skateboarding culture, who is into you know, youth subcultures, who's into marketing, you know, anyone starting their own brand should read this book. There's lots of great tidbits in here. Most people know the Hundreds from their atom bomb logo, that bomb with the face on it, kind of a cartoon bomb. talks a lot about this, and talks a lot about the relevance of that, and like periods in your company when certain things blow up and go viral, which obviously that atom bomb logo was one of those times for the hundreds where it really became a recognizable logo and blew up beyond whatever they would have thought. And they never intended that to happen. They kind of just put that out as another one of their images or graphics. I believe Bobby actually is a designer as well, and he designed all those graphics himself. There's a funny story in the book where the logo got so big, and they were riding this logo trend so hard that at some point they had to like make a decision to cull it back because they didn't want to be only recognized by that logo. But there's a funny story in the book where he talks about Old Navy basically scamming that logo without any permission and putting it on socks and boxer shorts and all this crap. They had a huge legal battle with Old Navy. Old Navy offered them a bunch of money to keep the graphic going in their stores, but Bobby and his partner said, no, we're not doing it. Pull this product. Like, I think they offered them like $25,000 to keep the product running in the stores. They said, nope. And that was a lot of money at the time when this was going on. So they said, nope, we're pulling it. We need to keep the brand integrity, and they pulled it out, and they made Old Navy pull it off the shelves. I don't think that they actually ended up getting any back payment for any of that, but I thought that was a pretty rad story. Like most brands, the 100 started by selling t-shirts and sweatshirts. You know, just logo graphic tees. One thing that I found cool is I'm currently in process with Frankie Collective of starting our own streetwear brand, new cut and sew products. It's not easy, you know. Sure, making t-shirts is easy, but once you get into actual cut and sew production, it's not easy dealing with factories, materials, details, getting things right. It's a lot of work. He goes into it, and he actually spent, I don't know, months, or I think years in Asia. He spent years in Asia when they went from just being a t-shirt brand to a cut and sew streetwear brand. And he basically talks about his experiences. He was mentored through learning how to become a real designer, picking fabrics, dealing with the factories, making sure things worked, getting, you know, where he got his inspiration from. So that was really relatable to me. I think it's probably relatable to anybody else who is interested in starting a brand in general or a streetwear brand. It's a good book. It's not the type of book I typically read, but it was relevant enough for me to read. I'm going to do more of these book reviews, so please follow this channel. I'm going to be reviewing all kinds of different books. So yeah, I want to end this. I want to read a little excerpt here from the book. This is the epilogue for This Is Not a T-Shirt by Bobby Hundreds, read by me, Drew Heifetz. Every morning I wake at dawn. I make my sons breakfast and dress them for school as my wife gets ready for work. I frown at the news on my phone. I scoop out some avocado, dust my bite with some sea salt, and scan the surf report. An hour later, I'm sitting out in the cold green waters at Venice Beach. As with all sports and hobbies, surfing holds its share of life metaphors. This is a big piece of why surfers do it. Something about the elements, the movement of the air, the storm, turned water, the roiling sand underneath, colliding in a singular moment inspires and intrigues us. I examine the lineup. There are anxious teenagers feverishly hacking away at the foaming crest with their shortboards. There are silver veterans with leathery skin anchored to the horizon on splintering longboards. The beginners crowd the whitewash inside with their Costco foam boards, yelping, gurgling, and celebrating small victories. Even the amateur can tell you that surfing is a lot like real estate. Timing and location, location, location. If you watch long enough, you'll see most surfers reading the water and paddling their brains out to the swelling point right before it bursts. Most accomplished surfers, however, appear always to be in the right place at the right time, as if they were willing the earth to roll the surf's peak in their direction. Some days I try like hell. I don't know what's wrong, but I'll thrash after a wave only to have it curl right through me and collapse like Jenga blocks. My heart racing, my arms rubbery, I'll look up just in time to watch a graceful longboarder take two freestyle strokes, lean into a slope with her weight, rise up, and tread the plank like a ballerina. It's It's right around that moment that I'm thinking of when I algorize surfing to work. Between dolphins and sun rays, it's the rare window in my day to think about nothing at all until, of course, my mind retreats back into work and legacy. There are career highs when you're simply in the right place at the right time and you catch the universe momentum. It's a fun ride. Then there are the slumps. No matter how hard you push, the earth spins out of your favor. A deep, heavy current tugs you downward. The secret, knowing when and where to position yourself with the pendulum swings, when the pendulum swings your way and the momentum hits. You can't control the cosmos, but you can study and get in position for its curveballs. This is an education called from time and experience and patience. Those very things that neither money nor Instagram followers nor power can buy. Time. Things take time, and time takes fortitude. While immediate gratification and impatience be our downfall in the digital age, I will wait half a morning for the current to align and the right wave to connect at my post. When it does, I have conserved all my energy for that juncture. I will own that flash. I will wait